Hey guys, let's get more news about Warriors, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Dunleavy, Warriors willing to trade youngsters for right player. Though the Warriors have long resisted the notion of making Jonathan Kuminga available in trade, that stance lost some of its power Thursday afternoon. Kuminga and fellow members of Golden State's young core, Tracy Jackson-Davis, Moses Moody and Brandon Podziemski, might not be on the market, but general manager Mike Dunleavy made it apparent that none is untouchable. That any or all of them might be moved for the right return. It would have to be something that we felt would unequivocally change the trajectory of our franchise, Dunleavy said. Like, say, adding a 9-time NBA All-Star. Or someone voted 6 times to the All-NBA team. Or, maybe, a 4-time All-Defensive Team member. Paul George is all those things in one. And the Warriors, according to league sources, are monitoring the George's status with the Los Angeles Clippers. He can decline his $48.8 million player option for next season and become an unrestricted free agent. And the Clippers, according to President of Basketball Operations Lawrence Frank, are bracing for that possibility. We've had ongoing conversations with Paul and Aaron Mintz, his agent, Frank told reporters Thursday afternoon in LA. We love Paul. We very much want to retain Paul. But we also very much understand and respect the fact this is a business. And players have a finite amount of time to be able to not just make the most amount of money, but to be able to pursue whatever they want. George, who turned 34 last month, would be the most attractive available UFA on the market. LeBron James is not leaving the Los Angeles Lakers, not with his son, Bronny, coming aboard. Philadelphia's Tyrese Maxey is a restricted free agent. James Harden simply is less attractive than George. We hope Paul's decision is to be here, Frank said. He's been awesome. He's been an all-star 3 of the 5 years. He's one of the best two-way players in the league. He's a terrific person, got a great family. We hope he's here. But we also respect the fact that if he chooses to opt out, that's his choice. He's earned it. And we'll see how things play out. So, will the Warriors. After finishing 6th in the Western Conference in 2023, they tumbled to 10th last season. They're angling for a big splash. That means adding an established star with the gifts to complement and bolster veteran leaders Stephen Curry and Draymond Green, both of whom are in their mid-30s. George, a 6'8", 220-pound wing, is one of few potentially available players who fits the bill. The Warriors don't have the cap space to pursue George as a free agent, so their only path to acquisition would through via sign-and-trade deal. That can't happen until the new cap year begins on July 1st. There are other hurdles to such a transaction, all of which can be navigated if all parties are willing. And it's conceivable to believe the Warriors would be willing to sacrifice some of their future to put themselves in position to compete for a championship. Losing any of the 4 youngsters would be painful. But Kuminga would be the toughest to part with, particularly after he made appreciable improvement last season. We like those guys, Dunleavy said. We think they're going to be really good, so it would have to be something that makes us a lot better than that. Paul George brings enough skill to immediately make the Warriors a lot better than good. Of all the players who might be available, he might be the only one about which that can be said. Warriors acquire SG Lindy Waters III in minor trade with Thunder. The Golden State Warriors have made a trade prior to Day 2 of the 2024 NBA Draft. According to a report by Shams Charania, the Dubs have acquired wing Lindy Waters III from the Oklahoma City Thunder for the 52nd overall pick. The Warriors are now not slated to make any selections in this year's draft, though they can still acquire a pick in the second round, which begins today at 1 p.m. Pacific Time. While the Warriors have had a lot of success drafting in the second round of recent drafts, the move gives them a much more experienced depth piece. Waters spent 4 years at Oklahoma State and is entering his 4th NBA season. He has appeared in 104 games with the Thunder. While he has never had a massive role with the team, he has averaged 5.3 points on .416/.377/.815 shooting in 12.3 minutes per game over his career. In the G League, where Waters has had a much larger role, he has been one of the most potent outside threats, making 41.4% of his career threes at that level. Given the growing sentiment that the Warriors will lose Klay Thompson in free agency and could be trading some combination of Andrew Wiggins, Jonathan Kuminga, and Moses Moody, it makes sense for the front office to try and add some extra wing depth to prepare for those potential departures. Waters only has 1 year remaining on his current contract, but is scheduled to make the league minimum, just under $2.2 million. While Waters' contract is not guaranteed, and the Warriors can opt out of the deal before Saturday, The Athletic's Anthony Slater reports that the Warriors will be keeping the young guard, and view him as a depth piece for the upcoming season. Paul George's ex-teammate floats possibility of joining Warriors. There may be fire to the recent smoke regarding Paul George potentially joining the Golden State Warriors. George's former teammate, Patrick Beverley, floated the possibility of George going to the Warriors, though he didn't primarily mention George. Beverley posted on his X account what he believes could be a fearsome quartet. DLO refers to ex-Warrior D'Angelo Russell, who played for Golden State for half a season before they traded him to Minnesota. Russell has a player option with the Los Angeles Lakers that he could opt in or out of. Beverley did not elaborate on how the Warriors could make that work. Knowing their cap situation, orchestrating this hypothetical union would be tricky. The Warriors have crossed the NBA's second tax apron, so they can't aggregate contracts to get George. They also won't have cap room to add George if he tests free agency. They don't have contracts to match for Russell either, which would make a trade hard with the Lakers because they, too, have crossed the second tax apron. If they could pull that, George could help the Warriors salvage what they have left of their window with Stephen Curry. George and Beverley played together on the Los Angeles Clippers from 2019 to 2021. George has a player option with the Clippers. He has made plenty of money throughout his career but evidently wants one last payday. ESPN's Brian Windhorst reported that the Warriors would be willing to give him a max contract should the opportunity present itself. He wants a full-out max. And there are a number of teams out there, I am told, that are prepared to give it to him or are prepared to trade for him, Windhorst said. One of those teams potentially is up the coast in Golden State. Golden State is big fish hunting. Remember, last trade deadline, they put a call in about LeBron James. They are sniffing around big deals. If Paul George is willing to leave, they would like to be an option for him. That would be expensive for someone like George, who is 34 years old. However, if winning more championships comes at the cost of overpaying an aging star like George, Golden State may be willing to make that sacrifice. With the offseason underway, all eyes will be on George's next move. Though there have been plenty of rumors surrounding it, ESPN's Zach Lowe said he has no idea where George will lean this offseason. I now have officially no feel for what's going to happen with Paul George, Lowe said on the June 27 episode of the Lowe Post. George's lack of clarity could work in the Warriors' favor down the line. Windhorst reported that the Warriors are willing to give him the contract he wants. George appears to be in a game of chicken with the Clippers, and neither side seems willing to budge. If the Clippers hold firm on not giving George the money he wants, the Warriors could not only offer him that money and a chance at a title, but he wouldn't have to leave his home state of California. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Paul George? Leave your opinion in the comments.